Good morning and welcome to Martindale Outdoors. So today I've got a couple of items to show you. I've got my much used and abused Martindale Machete, which is it's been a faithful companion for a few years now. He's looking a bit ratty, but I think that just adds to the character. Put that to one side, and then I've recently picked up a new tool. I do a bit of gardening work on the side, and I needed something with a little bit more reach for sort of slashing cuts, that kind of stuff, for clearing weeds and brambles and things. So I picked up, this is a Tramontina machete.
Alrighty then.
It's a bolo style machete. It's just got weight forward on the tip. I paid $11.95 for this on my usual website, Henny Haynes, based over in Barry Island in the UK. It's incredibly cheap, incredibly cheap. It's old tech. There's nothing particularly fancy about this. It's just a carbon steel. Just had an edge ground on it. One thing I did notice with this tip around to about here is there was actually no tip per se. It wasn't ground. I had to take a file to it and put an edge on myself. What I will say about the Tramontina is it's really easy to sharpen. You just need a file. As long as you've got a reasonably good eye for detail, you can put a wicked edge on this with just using a file. I used a file and then a kitchen steel and then some of the black wet and dry sandpaper to finish it off, just to try and make it look a little bit more presentable after I put big file marks into it. So this is wicked sharp now. This will shave paper. It's also really good for going through brambles. I've gone through the blackberry bush in the back garden with it, no problem at all. So it's been dead handy for that. So why would you want one of these over one of these? You can see there's a little bit more length on that tip. There's not an awful lot. We're talking sort of what, 2.5 inches. Also the design of it, you've got that extra weight on the tips. It's designed more for weight forward chopping. There's nothing wrong with the Martindale at all. It's a tried and tested tool. The British Army have been using it for donkey's years. It's you know, it's been so far for me, it's been a reliable lump of steel. There are imitations on the market you need to look out for. There's a few imitation knockoffs of these, and they don't have the crocodile marking on there, and they've also not usually got the arrow on there. The cheaper ones, yeah, they look like a good deal. They normally come with like a DPM nylon sheath thing. That's the first giveaway. Martindales don't come with that. They come with like a black nylon useless scabbard thing that comes with a file. I've since ruined the sheath because it was left in the shed and it's stuck to the blade and it fell apart, so I've had to improvise. I've basically got like a load of cardboard, put some Gorilla Tape all around it, and that does as an impromptu sheath. When you're drawing your machete, you always want to make sure that your fingers are away from the tip of the blade. So my hand's on the back, so slots in there. It's nothing fancy, it looks a bit rough and ready, but it saves me spending out on a sheath for it. So drawing it again, making sure our fingers are nowhere near the tip of that blade, because if it cuts through the sheath, you're going to end up cutting your fingers. That actually comes no drama at all. The Tramontina does come with a sheath as well. It's plastic, very sort of thin construction, but for £12, what did you expect? You're not going to get anything particularly fancy. Again, this is another one that if you get it wrong when you draw it, when you put it away, you know, you run the risk of that slicing straight through that, what is just PVC material. You imagine if you did a hard draw on that now, it could quite easily cut through and you'd end up with a nasty cut on your fingers. But for what it is, $11.95, it's fine, I can live with it for now. So what's it like to slice with? Can you slice with these tools? Great, slivers off the sides of your bits of wood. So we'll try the Martindale first. That sort of seems to be ground a bit more acutely than the Tramontina. Just put my legs, hit myself on the legs with it. It's not brilliant at all, is it? And I'm having to use quite a steep angle to try and cut with. And it's this sharp, it's just got a very acute grind on it. Let's try the Tramontina. So the Tramontina seems a bit more willing to slice more towards the back edge of it, where you've got a little bit more control over it. You can sort of almost push cut with it. And try again with the Martindale. Try that back edge. Again, it's got a really odd angle. You have to really sort of angle the blade quite deep into the wood. And it doesn't really want to bite in at all. Just finish this bit off the Tramontina. You see I'm using a much less of an angle with this, and it's slicing down nicely through that. So if you want to slice things, definitely the Tramontina is the way to go. The Martindale just seems to want to glance off of the wood, whereas the Tramontina is getting a fairly decent slice. So that's another win for the Tramontina. These edges are, you can see it's got a really sort of almost rounded profile to it out of the box, more like an axe grind almost, that slightly rounded tip. Whereas the Tramontina is more of a V shape. I mean, you can reprofile it if you want to your liking. They're both fairly easy to reprofile, like I say, with the files and all the rest of it. The Martindale is also, as you can see, it's thicker. It's definitely thicker. So I don't know. I'm not a fan of this weird axe type grind. Again, if I wanted to, I could probably file it back and start again, but it just seems like a lot of work when this sort of £12 tool comes more or less ready to use. It did come sharp out of the box, this one. Sharper than the Martindale did. The Martindale needed a lot more work, brand new out the packet, than this did. I just got a bit over the top with this one with the sharpening. I say I gave it the full treatment, and it wants to bite in much better than the Martindale. You see the penetration is only very marginal with the Martindale, whereas the Tramontina is definitely cut in much more. So that's the win for the Tramontina in my books. Okay, so we've got our little log set up to chop onto. This is just a length of fence post that I had lying around down on the allotment. It's a pretty hard bit of wood, so we'll see what we can do in terms of taking the corners off of this fence post. Apologies if it gets a bit noisy. So I'm going to do this end with the Martindale, and then I'm going to do the other end with the Tramontina. So let's give that a go, see what kind of we can get out of this. So it bites in quite fairly deep into the wood. I think I've hit a knot there. As you can see, it bites in fairly decently to the wood, which is quite hard. Let's see if we can take that corner off. There we go. Nice big chop on there, and it's away. Okay, same again then for the Tramontina. Pull that out of its little hole. I'm not sure if it's going to be any better. This is definitely feels lighter in the hand than does the Martindale, but we'll give it a go, see what we get. Straight away that bit in a lot deeper, that first cut. I'm trying to use the weight forward tip of the bolo for the chop in. Which it seems to be doing a bit better. I'm not sure whether because I've sharpened this one better or whether it's because it's a thinner profile, but let's try this corner. Let's see if I can take this corner off in one shot. Close enough, you know. Nearly through it. I can peel that off now. I've got to hand it to the Tramontina actually. The Martindale is chopping fairly decent, but it's definitely taking me more chops to get the same results. That's a result. So if you're in the market for a new machete, you've got the Tramontina from Brazil for $11.95. It's 14 inches long. It doesn't say what steel it is, but it's very easy to sharpen, very easy to put an edge on. I don't like the handle particularly at the moment. I'm going to have to sand that down because it's got quite a square profile. It doesn't fit very well in my hand. The Martindale is more expensive. You're looking at about £30 for the Martindale. It's a classic. For me, I don't know, I think this one has just outshone the Martindale. It's great for slashing cuts as well on bushes. And the battery's running low on my camera, so I'll just quickly run you over to the brambles over here. Just give you a quick chop. Cuts through, no dramas at all. Obviously be very careful when you're swinging the machete around. This is lethal. You catch yourself on the leg or the arms with it, you're going to know about it. $11.95 from Henny Haynes in the UK. Well worth a look. Comments and suggestions, please let me know, and I'll see you on the next video. Goodbye for now.